Hello people, I'm having a bit of diarrhea today. I hope I can last through this video. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through these four devices. The first one is the resistor. I'm sure you are all familiar with this. The second one is the filament. Note the circuit symbol is just a circle with a cross in it. The third one is the thermistor, which stands for thermal resistor actually. Its circuit symbol is the resistor with a hockey stick. I have no idea why the circuit symbol is chosen to be like this. And the last one is going to be the LDR, which stands for light dependent resistor. As the name suggests, the resistance of LDR depends on the lighting. So its circuit symbol is just a resistor with some light shining on it. Okay, so now we are going to look at each one of them in detail, and specifically we'll look at their IV characteristic graph. Let's start with the resistors. I'm sure you have seen them in your labs before. Long time ago, we actually made students read the color codes. So from the color codes, you are actually able to tell the resistance of the resistor. But nowadays, of course, we use the DMM. I bet you haven't seen the inside of these resistors. So the inside actually look like this. These are actually carbon films wound around. So guess which one has the largest resistance? I'll give you a clue. Resistance is rho L over A. So this one here has the longest length, yeah? And also the narrowest cross-sectional area. So this one has the largest resistance. The purpose of a resistor is of course to provide resistance. So we expect the IV characteristic graphs of each resistor to be just a straight line passing through the origin. So no matter what potential difference you apply across a resistor, it provides the same resistance. Now a quick test on you. So among these three resistors, which one has the largest resistance? Remember, the more I lean towards the voltage axis, the higher the resistance. Because leaning towards the voltage axis means a higher V to I ratio. So this is the largest resistance, followed by this one. So R3 has the smallest resistance. Okay, let's move on to the filament. That's why these are called filament lamps, because the thing that glows and gives off the light is the filament. If you look closely, you can see that each filament is actually a helical coil. And if you look even more closely, you realize that the helical coil itself is also a helical coil. See? This is what I mean, yeah? The helical coil is also a helical coil. Now another thing I bet you don't know about the filament is this. The resistance of a hot filament is much higher than the resistance of a cold filament. Now remember, the electrons in the wire has to drift through the vibrating metal lattice. So at low temperature, the metal lattice will not be vibrating too vigorously and the resistance is going to be low. But at high temperature, the metal lattice will be vibrating a lot more vigorously, and this increases the frequency of interaction between the drifting electrons and the metal lattice. So the more frequent collision translates to a higher resistance. That's why an IV characteristic graph of a filament is not a straight line graph passing through the origin. It flattens as we hit the higher voltages. Let's consider 3 points, A, B, and C. Which operating point represents the highest resistance? C, right? Because C is the one that leans most towards the voltage axis. C has the largest V to I ratio. The reason the resistance is largest here is because at this higher voltage and higher current, the power dissipated in the filament is highest. Basically, the filament becomes hot because of the Joule's heating that's happening in the filament. So the larger the potential difference you apply across the filament, then the higher the power dissipation, the filament will reach a higher temperature, the lattice will be vibrating more vigorously, resulting in a higher resistance. So cold filament, low resistance. Hot filament, high resistance. Okay, now you are looking at thermistors. NTC actually stands for negative temperature gradient, but you don't have to worry about it because the other type, the PTC thermistors, are not in the syllabus. So in your syllabus, all thermistors' resistance decreases with temperature. So because of this, thermistors are often used as temperature sensors. They come in different dimensions and shapes, but the main idea is we try to maximize the thermal contact between the thermistor and the surrounding because we want to use it to sense the surrounding temperature. Thermistors are made of semiconductors, so every red ball here represents a silicon atom. If you know some chemistry, then you know that silicon atom has 4 valence electrons. So every silicon atom will form 4 covalent bonds with 4 surrounding silicon atoms. If all the bonds are intact, then the semiconductor has no mobile free electrons to support any current. Now look at this one here, this electron here. Now due to thermal agitation, there will always be some electrons which manage to break free. Once it breaks free, it becomes a free electron that can support the current. And the hotter the silicon is, the more electrons they are able to break free and become mobile electrons. So the hotter it is, the more mobile electrons. Actually, there are the mobile holes also, but I don't think I'm going to elaborate about that. In fact, the A-level syllabus doesn't require you to know the why. it only requires you to know that the hotter the temperature, the more mobile free electrons, and therefore the lower the resistivity. So this could be the IV characteristic graphs of the same thermistor at two different temperatures. So guess which one is the higher temperature? This one has the higher resistance, so this one must be the cold thermistor. At higher temperature, when the thermistor is hot, you have more mobile free electrons and therefore has a lower resistance. Now, I have seen in some schools' lecture notes where they present the IV characteristic graph of thermistor to have such a shape, which suggests that the thermistor doesn't have a fixed resistance and that the resistance decreases as you apply a larger and larger PD across the thermistor. I can understand why they draw it like that. It's just like the opposite of the filament. So they are saying that at higher V and I, because there's a higher power dissipation, so the thermistor heats itself up, makes itself hot, and therefore ends up with a lower resistance. I wouldn't say that that's wrong, but if you are using a thermistor to sense the ambient temperature, then usually you'll be operating the thermistor at voltages that are low enough so that its resistance is dependent on the ambient temperature, rather than to operate it at such high voltages that the thermistor is heating itself up. So to me, the IV characteristic graphs of thermistors should still be ohmic, but a different resistance at different temperatures. But I also don't want you to be caught by surprise when you see graphs like this. Okay, now, the LDR, the light dependent resistor. Have you seen them before? Usually they have a transparent window here, and this is the part that's sensing the ambient illumination. The LDR is also a piece of semiconductor, but the difference is light energy that allows a bound electron to break free and become a mobile electron. So if you have more light, then you have more mobile electrons. So the more brightly the LDR is illuminated, the lower its resistivity. So these two could be the IV characteristic graphs of one LDR, but at two different lighting conditions. So which one is the bright one and which one is the dim one? So this one that leans closer to the V-axis has a larger resistance. So this one must be under dim lighting, because only when it's bright, then you have a lot of free electrons, resulting in a lower resistance. Okay, I think I'm done. Just nice. I need to go to the toilet now. Ta-ta!